Okay, taking up where we left off just a minute ago, we want to move on to assignments and grades. This is really boring stuff. I like to put the boring stuff out of the way up front. Okay, in the college class, instead of a numerical average as a final grade, you get a letter grade based on numerical average. We follow the standard here. If you had come out with an average of 90 or better, you get an A. 80 to 89 equals a B, 70 to 79 equals a C, and below that you're not passing in high school, but at Weatherford College, an average between 60 and 69 gets you a D, which is passing for certain limited purposes. Now, when I'm assigning letter grades based on the averages, when I can, and I don't know if they're going to let me do that this time, everything's getting all mechanical, I routinely round to the nearest whole number, if that helps. All right, if you get an average below 59 or below, you'll make an F, and that'll just be that. It's not that hard to avoid. Okay, now the semester grade average is based on several components. You'll have chapter quizzes, 17 of them in 1301, 15 in 1302, and the average of those chapter quizzes will count 25% of your final average. There'll be 3 major exams. They average together. The average of them at any given time is 30%. So it's as if they count 10% each, though they're not standalone. Then there's something called the writing assignment, which is several things that the average of which comes to 20%. Now, the way I break it up, there are 2 smaller ones worth 5% each. That gets averaged up at 10%, and the final paper itself is another 10%, and there we go. That's required, by the way, from high above. Then there's the final exam, which is 25% of the final average, same as the chapter quiz average. Okay, in the past, my final has only been 20%. Now it's 25 because the whole grade category had to go away because I couldn't put it online. That would be map tests. So that means that a bad grade will do you more damage on the final. A good grade on the final will do you more good. It's just, I don't know, works that way. Okay, I will tell you that in my class, no assignments are optional. There are no optional assignments. Everything is counted. And, next thing, no grades will be dropped. I do not drop grades. Okay, time limits for these things. Each of these, anything in here from chapter quiz to the final exam will be open for 4 days, Monday through Thursday. Now, I was still clinging to the old paradigm last spring where you'd have from midnight to midnight on a day to get it done. This time it's week by week, so when the chapter 1 quiz opens up, you'll have from August 31st through September 3rd to get it done. Once you start it, you'll have 10 minutes with no retakes. Also, there are no more makeups. You got 96 hours to get it done. If you can't get it done, water under the bridge. No retakes will be allowed. Now, looking at these things one at a time. First of all, the chapter quizzes, you are assigned to read chapters 1 through 17 of the regular textbook, U.S. and Narrative History. You'll be taking an 11-question multiple choice quiz over each chapter online. So there'll be you'll be click on the thing under the weekly assignment when you're ready to do it, because once you start, you have to finish, okay? And then it will present you 1 question at a time. There'll be 11 of them randomized out of a larger test bank. Could run anywhere from 15 to 20 questions. No 2 students would get the same exact ones, and the options would be scrambled from one to the next. And you have 10 minutes. It was 15. I'm cutting it to 10. If you're ready, you should be able to do it. If you don't get any answers right at all, I will award you a grade of 10 just so you know you attempted it. Let me see. The grade will be the number of correct answers times 10. So if you get all 11 of them right, congratulations, you just made a grade of 110. All right, and this is from the regular textbook, not the supplements. Now, there will be 3 major unit exams, each of which will consist of two parts. There'll be an essay section. Well, actually, you start with the multiple choice section, which will present you with 25 3-option multiple choice questions. And the 25 that you see will be randomized out of a test bank that could be 45 to 50 questions. you'll just get the 25 the computer decides to show you. Okay, and that's worth 50 points. Now, it'd be very easy to say, well, 25 questions, 2 points each, 50 points. Actually, I apply a formula to your raw score there to get how many points I'm going to give you. And all you need to know about that is that you are really happy about it. It's going to work in your favor. Take it and run. Okay, the essay section, you're going to be presented with 2 questions. You're going to answer 1 of them. You'll see 2. You're just going to answer 1. Don't ask me to grade 2. And for that, there'll be a behind the scenes. There'll be 1 or maybe 2 groups of questions, but the software only going to present you with 2, which you'll answer on the screen. Hope you can type a little bit. The top grade on that would be 50. I'm not opposed to giving that grade if I see quality, but they're not all or nothing. It's not 50 or 0. It's a sliding scale. If I give you 45 or more points, I've given you an A on that part of the test. 40 to 44 is a B, 35 to 39 is a C. Below that, it stops being proportional. If I give you a grade in the low 30s, that means I had mercy. I threw you some points so you could rise again to fight another day. Okay. Major exams, you have 1 hour. You have 60 minutes. That's about what it would come out to in class. Very few people need that much time, but that's what you got, so keep that in mind. Okay, no multiple attempts. Once you start, you have to finish, so make sure your deck is clear. Okay, then there's the writing project. It's 3 parts. First thing that will happen is a little quiz. Probably 10 questions, and they'll be in pairs, like the odd-numbered questions. The first question will present you with some text from an actual historical source, and you will decide whether it is primary, secondary, or tertiary. And there will be instructions, both, I'll post a video on it, and there's written material at the site to tell you the difference. The number 2 after number 1 and all the even numbered questions, you would explain why you classified it the way you did. And that's going to be worth 5% of your final grade. Okay, the other part of that the other 2, though they're not averaged in together, have to do with a paper, a little research paper you're going to write over an assigned topic. You'll also be given the sources online. There'll be active links you click on. If you're in 1301, you're going to be writing about the presidential election of 1828. I would have chosen 1824. Maybe way more interesting, but there it is. But that second assignment, there's going to be 2 things. There will be your thesis statement. You will have looked over the sources and decide how to treat this, what argument what point you're trying to prove in your little paper. So the thesis statement is a 1-sentence summary of where you're going with your paper. All right, and that can be good or bad. Following that will be a rough outline of the paper. So since I've graded quite a few of these by now and seen way too many from students who obviously have never had any exposure to what an outline actually looks like, all right, functions, I'm going to throw you a little instruction, probably video on that if I can figure out how. Okay. That one and the final paper itself, which will be due later on, and it'll count 10%. Okay, little quiz on sources and the thesis statement 5% each, averaged together to make 10%. Okay, the paper itself is 10%. There's some length requirements. There's some stylistic requirements. Part of this is to see if you can follow instructions. So don't turn it in when it doesn't have a name on it, or it's single spaced or triple spaced with 3-inch margins or something like that. Do it the way you're instructed to do it. Okay? They'll be submitted via something called turnitin.com. And in the general course information, it ends with some do's and don'ts, because I've had way too many people say, I couldn't get it to work. So, in brief, make sure you're turning in either a Word file or a PDF file, just to be on the safe side. Let's see. I'm jumping ahead of myself here just a tiny bit. I get it. Okay, yeah. Don't try to turn it in from a smartphone. It's going to have to come from a computer. Another thing is the final thing we couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work. I finally figured it out. Okay, people got their browser up and they typed in turnitin.com. That won't work. Okay, it's not going to know who you are or anything about you. What there will be on the Canvas site is going to be what's called a Dropbox, final paper Dropbox. Click on that. You go instantly into Turnitin. It recognizes who you are and what class you're in, and it will work. Okay. And Turnitin happens to remember exactly every paper it's ever seen from vast numbers of students, scholarly articles, books, and it's going to recognize if you have too many words run together there that it recognizes from some other source. So I and you can see your similarity percentage. And if it's up in the percentages, I'm going to dock you real hard. If it's like I've seen them in the 70, 80, 90% similarity range, that means they're copied. I do not grade them. So do your own work. Okay, the last assignment is the final exam. So given the last week, you'll have 4 days to do it. It is comprehensive. It's over the entire course. And it's a 100 question multiple choice test. The multiple choice questions are 4 option instead of 3 for the final exam. And at the site, you will see right at the beginning the final exam review topics list. Keep one eye on that for this entire course. You're not going to cram for a 100 question test the night before. The only way you succeed is something like that. If you keep it in front of you the whole time and just day to day, week to week, notice the things on there, see how much of it you remember. If you don't, it's all backed up in the 1301 supplements. Okay? By the way, the major exams and the final are all drawn from the supplements, not the main textbook. Okay, I'm going to knock this one off right now and go on to the next one, which will be study materials and the last part of it.